our next speaker, our commencement speaker, our faculty speaker is Mary Otis. And Mary was, I think, the third person I called when I got hired to inexplicably run a graduate school. And I should, on the occasion of our 5th anniversary, I should tell you that when this program started, there was another program that started too. There was an MBA program that started in the Palm Desert. And that was the one that was going to succeed and make lots of money and be nationally ranked and all that stuff. Oh, that place is gone. That thing closed down. And now we are the largest graduate school in the College of Humanities and Social Sciences. This program right here. And Mary was the third faculty member I called. After Bill Rabkin and Mark Haskell-Smith, I called Mary. And Matthew Zapruder had already been hired inexplicably. He didn't know and I didn't either, but that was the story of the last graduation. But I emailed Mary Otis, and the nice thing about working at UCR is that they keep all your emails just in case. There's a Freedom of Information Act thing, I think. And so I found the email I sent to Mary in the summer of 2008, and it said, "Hi Mary, I've been inexplicably handed a graduate school at the University of California. I don't have any students, but I really need, I think, another professor to teach creative writing. Would you like to do that?" And she wrote back, "I don't know who you are. Are you Tom Lutz?" She said, "Oh my God, I'd love to do this. It sounds fantastic. Let's talk on the phone." We talked on the phone. I hatched my plan with her. She was in a soft spot in her life then and willing to take a chance on a frumpy John Lovitzian avuncular figure and come along for the ride with us. And she's been with us ever since. And I thought she'd be the perfect person to talk here tonight as we welcome our new colleagues, our 7th class, and to talk about where we've come from. Mary Otis.
Greetings, students and alumni, Dean Jones, and all the family and friends gathered here tonight. And again, congratulations to our 2013 winter graduates. I want to begin by thanking UC Riverside and the true visionary and literary force that is Todd Goldberg for the opportunity to teach here. As much as I've taught, I've learned, and that's a lot. I wish to thank the inimitable, incomparable, indefatigable Agam Patel for his expertise. And I am very grateful to be in the company of such a wonderful faculty, each of whom I respect and admire, and who provoke inspiration on a regular basis. So, my mother is very proud that I teach in this program. But as much as I try to explain it to her, she doesn't quite understand how it works. And it can be difficult to understand. We have an unusual model, we conduct our learning in the hallowed halls of the internet, and twice a year we meet in a Palm Springs resort. So I was on the phone with her this week and she said, "I saw your old friend, Mickey Lipset." She asked what you were doing. I said, "What did you say?" She said, "I told her you teach writing in a hotel." When Todd Goldberg first asked me to give this commencement speech, a rush of memories from the past 5 years in our program came to mind, and I immediately began to write them down on a legal pad. I remembered our very first faculty meeting in the summer of 2008 on a 112-degree day in a conference room at the main campus of UCR with Todd Goldberg, Mark Haskell-Smith, Bill Rabkin, Joshua Malkin, Deanne Stillman, and Matthew Zapruder. It was morning, and then it was afternoon. A strange sun, the color of a children's aspirin, hung outside the window. We had talked about curriculum and reading lists and the creative and critical packets, when Todd suddenly jumped up, gestured to an enormous blank whiteboard, and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, this is our residency." And we sat there, transfixed by the pure potentiality of the whiteboard, which at that moment looked exactly like a gigantic blank page. And you may find this hard to believe, given the manner to which you've grown accustomed in terms of fancy resorts, but initially our residencies were going to be held at the Courtyard Inn, which boasts a color TV in every room, a Coke machine in the lobby, and across the street, an amazing bar in Applebee's. That day, after the first faculty meeting, your professors checked in, surveyed our surroundings, and we were psyched. But little did we know that as good as things already were, Todd was working behind the scenes, and they were about to get a lot better. Then I flashed on that first residency and how we were all wandering around the Parker in a kind of ecstatic daze because suddenly it was real. The school that we had talked about only a few months earlier with our 6 teachers and 20 students was now real. And of course, as always, the students and teachers didn't recognize each other because we don't meet before the first residency. It's like a cross between a family reunion and online dating. And I mean that in the most appropriate way possible. And then I recalled the many writing workshops at the past 10 residencies and how we work so hard in class that at a certain point, usually late in the afternoon, I can almost see smoke emanating from people's ears. It seems as if the outer world has fallen away. And the focus and investment in the work is a beautiful thing to behold. So I kept taking notes on my legal pad, and I was very happy to keep on remembering and recalling. But I was getting anxious, too, because I was in danger of giving commencement notes instead of a commencement speech. And I thought, what does this remind me of? And with a seasoned clarity, I knew. It reminded me of trying to begin a story or a novel. There is so much to say, but where is the point of entry? That feeling of placing your hands on the wall, looking for the secret panel that may or may not open. And then there it is, that small moment, the click, the lift, the quiet instant that usually happens with very little fanfare when you know you're in. But what was the thing I most wanted to say to you? A wise person once told me that action is the antidote to anxiety. And so I took an action that has always worked for me. I went to sleep. And during the middle of the night, I woke up and scribbled something on an index card. The next day I looked at it and I found the words, "The Human Sound Station." I had no idea what the words meant when I saw them, and could only vaguely remember writing them. I thought about a literal human sound station, a kind of radio channel that only plays human sounds, like people laughing, crying, or breathing. It seemed like a good radio station for dogs. The one you leave on when you go to the movies, so your dog still thinks you're there, laughing, crying, or breathing. But then I realized that to be deeply connected to your writing voice is to transmit from your own human sound station, the one we listen to when we write, the thing that is yours and yours alone. The dancer Martha Graham referred to this in a letter she once wrote to a student when she said, "There is only one of you in all time. This expression is unique, and if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium, and it will be lost." I once taught a writing workshop for high school kids, and at the end of the first week, a student came up to me, a boy who hadn't uttered a word in class, but who was a gifted writer, and he said, "I tend to write about vulgar, violent things, and alcoholics." Is that a problem? He looked at me as if he was seeking permission. And there you have it, because what you want to write about is what you need to write about, and you can no more change that than will your eyes to change color. But it takes risk. Some of my most remarkable teaching experiences in this program have involved working with students who appear to be writing one story, beneath which a kind of a shadow story lurked. And this is where claiming your talent, your life, and your imagination comes in. The word claim comes from the French clamer, meaning to cry out, and sometimes the story that actually wants to be told appears to be silenced, but it only seems that way. Best song ever. I love this quote from the wonderful writer George Saunders. We all try to skip around the heart of the story. It is a form of avoidance that all of us do. I don't know quite why, but I see it all the time, in my work and in the work of my students. It's very odd and very universal. Maybe it's scary to really confront the heart of the story because some part of us knows that if we blow that, we've blown the whole deal. It's like having a huge crush on someone and never telling them because you're afraid you'll be rejected. Writing is a high-stakes business. It demands faith, and when we seem most lost, we might actually be the closest we've ever come to writing what is real and the heart of the matter. You need to be willing to write the bad draft to get to the good draft, and be brave in the face of the not yet written. And it is the same, whether it's a blank page, an unwritten speech, or the empty whiteboard. But on the upside, you have a great big barge head full of ideas, and in the words of Stuart Diebeck, imagination is the best defense. I want to offer you a couple of final do's and don'ts. Don't chase fads or trends. When I was a little kid, for a brief shining period, paper skirts and pants were in vogue. They were disposable. You could cut off stains. But there was a problem. They were flammable. And came with warnings to avoid lit cigarettes, spilled cocktails, and sudden rain showers. They were of the moment, but they weren't built to last. In the end, they were a trend. They were disposable. So don't jump on bad bandwagons and write works that are the equivalent of paper pants. And don't use mixed metaphors like that one either. Remember, too, that writing is also about availability, not only to a story itself, but about availability to daily life that gets in there, too. One day, I was shopping at Ralph's in Los Angeles, and a man asked me how I was doing. I told him I was fine. He said, "Me? I just got out of jail." This went directly into a short story, and was exactly what needed to come out of the mouth of a character I was writing. The trick is, you never know where you will find what, so it's important to dwell in a place of possibility, and frequently the world will lean in and conspire with you to write. I had the great good luck to take my first writing class from an extraordinary teacher in Los Angeles named Jim Crusoe. I'd never written before and signed up for his mixed level class, which allegedly included beginning writers. But before the workshop started, all the students were milling around talking about their publications and books, throwing around craft terms like unreliable narrator, traveling third point of view. I had no clue what anyone was talking about, and at the break I left and I walked to my car. I planned to leave because I was too scared to take the class. I had my keys in the car door when something happened. I wish I could say it was an epiphany, But we talk about epiphanies in class and how sometimes they can feel fake or jammed in at the end of a story. So I'm not going to lay any fake epiphanies on you. But I will say that my legs walked back to class, and I ended up studying with Jim Crusoe for years. That one decision, in that one moment, changed everything. Perhaps the real truth about epiphanies is that we don't always recognize the significant changing moment as it happens, the moment that will change us for good. Because, like finding the point of entry in a story or a poem or any piece of writing, it is mysterious and full of grace. As you continue on your writing journey, remember that we all read to feel less alone, more deeply connected. Remember that writing provides a very valuable service to the world. Remember that you have a responsibility to your talent and your work to represent the human predicament, human brilliance, and everything in between. The Buddhist master Thich Nhat Hanh says, "The most precious gift we can offer anyone is our attention." So, the thing I really want to say to you is this. As you go forth, give your best attention to the world and to those around you who support and believe in you, and even to those who don't. But most of all, pay careful attention to your inner world, the miraculous territory where all good art is born. May you write deep and wide, and if there is a marker for vertical height, let's call it immeasurable wonder, may you write that too. Your time here has been well spent, and what you have learned, you will carry with you forever. As you go forward, tell the truth, name the unnameable, and illuminate the world for us all. Thank you.
Mary Otis, ladies and gentlemen. Also, it seems like the Guide Dogs of America party is going well.